President Ramatar says there must be timely dispensation of justice. The President urges investment in local tourism sector as it is an opportune time, and plans for closer cooperation in the health sector with a team of US-based medical professionals discussed during meeting with the head of state. We'll have the details of these and other presidential activities in this week's edition of The Diary for the period January 18 to January 24. I'm your host, Paul McAdam. There are plans for closer cooperation in the health sector from a team of US-based medical professionals who met with the President as part of their visit to Guyana. The President of the Howard University Medical Association, Dr. Frederick Kober, was part of a delegation which paid a courtesy call on President Donald Ramatar on January 20.
Meeting with the President was very exciting. Part of our mission is to reach out to the countries in the Caribbean and to start some ongoing dialogue and connection. And we had very positive responses from him, and we look forward to following up with some educational and further visits back to the country.
The head of the 44-member strong team of medical professionals said that they all had a wonderful time during their visit.
We had a wonderful time. The reception has been great. The enjoyment with the persons who've been delegated to work with us, our visit to Kaichur and into the interlands has been very good. So yesterday, the tired us out. We went everywhere and we were so tired.
Ghana hosted the 2014 reunion of the Howard University Medical Association from January 16 to 21. The delegation of 44 Washington, D.C. based medical practitioners that included Ghana's own David Aubrey Gorey, a Howard University graduate from Essequibo, hosted 2 continuing education sessions with local medical practitioners. The team was also able to deliver continuing medical education lectures over 2 days, January 17 and 18, at the Guyana International Conference Center. The team explored the forging of professional and academic ties with medical staff at the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation. The potential for further expansion of the telecommunications sector via call centers was the focus of a meeting between the head of state and the Clear Connect officials on January 20. The meeting with President Ramatar was fruitful, according to Clear Connect Chief Executive Officer Adrian Collins.
We had a great meeting. We spoke to the President about continuing to develop the call center industry in Guyana and told him about the opportunities that are available, and we had a great meeting.
The CEO said that his company is looking to help Guyana develop the industry further.
We think there's huge potential for a lot of jobs to continue to come in this industry, and look for all sorts of ways to make it happen, and partnering with world-class organizations to do that.
The Clear Connect call center company has been operating successfully for over 6 years locally and employs over 100 persons. The local ICT sector has expanded over the years, with several companies investing millions of dollars in their operations locally. You're watching The Diary, where we have been recapping the highlights of the country's president's weekly activities. More after the break. Ghana is set to achieve the goal set by the United Nations Children's Fund UNICEF of universal birth registration by 2015. The General Register Office has launched an intensive campaign. It has decentralized its services to specifically cater to the needs of residents living in the interior location. Bedside registration is also done in several public hospitals. There are now 200 registration centers operating in 10 regions. Citizens are urged to ensure that all births are registered.
Amerindian rights to land ownership continues to be a high priority for the PPPC government. The signing of a US $10.7 million agreement with the United Nations Development Program has paved the way for the implementation of the Land Titling and Demarcation Project, which is expected to provide absolute grants and certificates of title to eligible Amerindian communities and villages. There are 97 titled villages, while 77 others have had their lands demarcated. The Ministry of Amerindian Affairs will be working to process the first batch of 33 communities for land extension and 70 for demarcation under the 3-year land titling project. In an effort to better their lives, more than 42,000 pensioners are currently enjoying a 25% increase in their pension. This is in addition to the waiver of the Guyana Water Incorporated's bill. And in another attempt to enhance their lives, over 8,500 pensioners are benefiting from $20,000 subsidy yearly towards their electricity bills with the Guyana Power and Light Incorporated.
Guyana as a tourist destination continues to receive international acclaim. The reputable National Geographic Traveler has named Destination Guyana as one of the must-see places in 2014. The renowned magazine said Guyana is the best-kept secret in South America with stunning natural wonders. This year, increased focus will be placed on enhancing the standards within the industry, focusing on tourism products and services, multi-destination itinerary planning, events management, ecotourism, and sustainable principles and guidelines, as well as a grading scheme which will be developed for the industry.
The recommissioning of the Lenora Magistrates Court is part of government's efforts to ensure that there is an improved quality of justice for all in the society, along with its timely dispensation.
I have known cases, and we've talked about this time and time again, about cases lying in the courts far too long, and many cases not being heard. Many people, it's almost painful when people are proven innocent eventually, but would have spent long time in incarceration because of the length of time that it takes sometimes to get their cases heard.
The president said that the situation has even garnered the attention of the National Assembly.
This was one situation in our parliament when we had unanimity in passing a motion giving the authority to the judicial system, to the Judicial Commission, to take steps to ensure that cases and verdicts are given on time, that people have their cases written up on time. So we have done our part, but it is for the Judicial Commission to enforce and to try to ensure that we have more timely dispensation of justice and judges writing up their cases, because these things have different kinds of spin-off and effects.
He pointed out that failure to do this can oftentimes have serious spin-off effects.
It can have devastating impacts on the lives and livelihood of our people, and indeed on national development. In this regard, I must point out that the state remains a most important stakeholder. Many large, transformational, capital-intensive projects are affected and some even halted by litigation. I even sometimes believe that some people go to the court to use it as an instrument to slow things down. And this is unacceptable. Therefore, the timely delivery of decisions, even if they are wrong, is imperative, so that at least those decisions can be quickly challenged by the appellate process. In some cases, I feel my personal feeling is that before giving sometimes these stay orders, that the people should be heard, that the people should be given an opportunity to be heard. We know of a recent case where we saw again an attempt was being made to slow down progress in our country by trying to resort to the courts. At least that's my feelings.
The multi-million-dollar rehabilitation of the Lenora Court followed that of the Maibikuri Magistrates Court and preceded that of the Georgetown Magistrates Court. The rehabilitation program, which targets several courthouses across Guyana, is part of government's efforts to improve the local justice system through various measures. The time to invest in the local tourism sector is now, said the president as he addressed a cocktail event for stakeholders on January 22. Speaking at a stakeholders cocktail at the Palm Court restaurant, the president reflected on the tourism plans for 2014.
I think we have a great possibility for various types of tourism. And I have asked both ministers of finance and tourism to start making proposals to me for us to look at the incentives that we can afford in order to grow this sector at a more rapid pace.
Tourism, the president added, is being looked at in a regional framework, and the government has been spending money to develop infrastructure to attract more overseas visitors.
Our National Conference Center offers us the possibility of having meetings here that can attract a lot of people and to fill our hotels. Our stadium, our cricket stadium, offers us great possibility for sports tourism as well as entertainment in the tourism sector as well. We are also building, by August, I hope, that's the time I've been given, I hope the time doesn't slip. I hope by August the Marriott Hotel will be open. That too will have huge facilities, not only in terms of the rooms and the fact that we will have our first 5-star hotel here, but it will also have a big conference center that can mean that we can hold big conferences in our country as well. And we are working on a new airport. That is, if we are going to become a hub, and if we are going to use our geographic position where we are situated, actually in the middle of the world, just on the equator, just above the equator, it offers us a big possibility of being a hub between the north and the south of the hemisphere. And that is why we desperately need a bigger airport, a modern airport, and that we can realize the potential there as well of being a hub for the whole region and between the two hemispheres of the world.
The tourism sector has a host of innovative plans and events scheduled for 2014, and thousands of overseas visitors are expected to travel to experience what has been described by National Geographic as one of the world's top 20 destinations to visit. More of the diary after this break.
In an effort to better their lives, more than 42,000 pensioners are currently enjoying a 25% increase in their pension. This is in addition to the waiver of the Guyana Water Incorporated's bill. And in another attempt to enhance their lives, over 8,500 pensioners are benefiting from $20,000 subsidy yearly towards their electricity bills with the Guyana Power and Light Incorporated.
In an effort to respond more promptly to citizens, the Home Affairs Ministry has launched an online crime reporting system which allows citizens who possess or have access to cell phones, computers, or other devices with internet connections to report criminal activities. Citizens can get instant access to security personnel on BlackBerry Messenger via 280-4E429. Reports of corruption can also be made on www.ipaidthebribe.com. These reports can be made anonymously.
Amerindian rights to land ownership continues to be a high priority for the PBPC government. The signing of a US $10.7 million agreement with the United Nations Development Program has paved the way for the implementation of the Land Titling and Demarcation Project, which is expected to provide absolute grants and certificates of title to eligible Amerindian communities and villages. There are 97 titled villages, while 77 others have had their lands demarcated. The Ministry of Amerindian Affairs will be working to process the first batch of 33 communities for land extension and 70 for demarcation under the 3-year land titling project.
Guyana as a tourist destination continues to receive international acclaim. The reputable National Geographic Traveler has named Destination Guyana as one of the must-see places in 2014. The renowned magazine said Guyana is the best-kept secret in South America with stunning natural wonders. This year, increased focus will be placed on enhancing the standards within the industry, focusing on tourism products and services, multi-destination itinerary planning, events management, ecotourism, and sustainable principles and guidelines, as well as a grading scheme which will be developed for the industry.
Ghana is set to achieve the goal set by the United Nations Children's Fund UNICEF of universal birth registration by 2015. The General Register Office has launched an intensive campaign. It has decentralized its services to specifically cater to the needs of residents living in the interior location. Bedside registration is also done in several public hospitals. There are now 200 registration centers operating in 10 regions. Citizens are urged to ensure that all births are registered. The head of state addressed several pertinent issues on January 24, including plans for Gaisuko, Guyana's economic growth, and the Colwyn Harding case. The performance of the Guyanese economy in 2013 was described as commendable by the president despite serious challenges. The 5% economic growth was attained despite various economic and political challenges, noted the president.
It could have been much, much better, but because we face a lot of challenges, we still face a great amount of challenges. The fact that we didn't, because the Amila Falls would have been about 25% of our investment, about 25% of our GDP, so that would have been extremely good for us. And you saw we have challenges too in the sense of the anti-money laundering bill. When you saw the chairman of the Citizens Bank making the statement that we have been saying from the very beginning, that this can have an impact on us. So despite the challenges, the political challenges that we face, I will say that our economy has done very, very well. The management of the economy has been extremely good, and to make those achievements despite the political challenges that we face.
The president is optimistic that the local economy will continue to expand in a positive manner.
Our economy has done very, very well. The management of the economy has been extremely good, and to make those achievements despite the political challenges that we face. In going forward this year, I think that we will also meet our we'll also have positive economic growth. Our economy continues to attract important investments in our society. A lot of it can be, our mining sector, as you know, has grown. Tourism has made a big contribution last year and is poised to make a big contribution this year. You saw too that some of the airlines, Copa, is coming in. Intertel, I think, is another one that possibly are looking for possibilities, and other airlines. So we expect arrivals to go up, and we can probably have a more robust growth in the sector. Agriculture, with the exception of sugar, in every other area, agriculture has done extremely well, rice in particular. And infrastructure, our infrastructural work continues to move ahead.
The 2014 budget is being worked on, said the president, and offers for the parliamentary opposition parties to take part in this process remain on the table.
We have sent invitation to them that we are ready, our doors are still open for discussion. We still think that we have a lot of time for consultations. I regret the position that they have taken. That on one hand, they want to cooperate, and then on the other hand, not cooperating. When you have an open door for them to make suggestions. Last year, information was sent to them, documents were sent to them, and we're still ready to have consultations with them as far as the budget process is concerned.
He also spoke of some of the plans to boost the ailing sugar industry.
There is a strategic plan that the cooperation has, and we are, the new CEO should be in place very soon. And there's a lot of work going on to correct some of the issues at Skeldon as we speak. Those works are going on right now to look at the Skeldon factory. And we're also looking at bringing in more skills to help in the technical area, in the agriculture, and in the factory area of the field. So I think that one, we will probably correct the technical deficits that probably exist. There will be a strong focus on both the agriculture and the factory, with particularly emphasis on Skeldon.
The president is fully supportive of calls for an independent inquiry into the alleged baton rape and abuse of former prisoner Colvin Harding.
The reporting on that has been so irresponsible, it is amazing. I mean, let me say up front that this government is against any kind of torture, but at the same time, I don't think you hang people even before they have a trial, even before they're listened to or anything like that. And to me, I mean, I have my own personal views on many of these things. One, how long it took. Two, who are the people who are now generating it? Where do they stand? What are their political motives? And I think a lot of what is taking place is not being based on looking at the facts or waiting for results of investigation, but they're just wild, or probably trying to instigate a lot of negative things in our society. So, yes, I'll be ready for any kind of investigation.
The president pointed out the damage caused by persons and some sections of the media who represented some issues, and this, he said, needs to be noted.
This is becoming a pattern in our country by some people and by some media as well. Look at the Linden, what took place in Linden, and how much damage it caused in Linden, misinformation and misrepresentation. And when the report came out, it was totally contrary to what was being reported and taken as facts and truth within the system. I think, therefore, it obviously seems to be some agenda to instigate these things, because clearly, when you have an independent inquiry on these things, they're all coming out to be not true. And as soon as you see that they're coming out to be not true, there's a switching of positions that are being taken all the time. So I think that let us not. I have my own views. I think it's my personal views I have on these issues. But I think that there is definitely some agenda to instigate things within our society.
The incident reportedly took place sometime between November 15 and 18 in 2013, when the 23-year-old Temeri resident Harding was taken into custody at the Temeri police station. He has since been hospitalized for treatment. That's all in this week's diary for the period January 18 to January 24. To recap, President Ramatar says there must be timely dispensation of justice. President urges investment in local tourism sector as it is an opportune time, and plans for closer cooperation in the health sector with a team of US-based medical professionals discussed during meeting with the head of state. Do join us again for the next program, when we will bring you more of the President's activities. I'm your host, Paul McAdam, thanking you for joining us. Do have a pleasant rest of the week.